Good morning, Corona. Mr. Forbes here, and I'm about to fill your brain with learning things. You heard me! Welcome back to 90 Second Lessons! So today's lesson comes with a story that has a light seasoning of irony. It involves a Norwegian toy maker, an Australian doctor, and a 140-year-old French woman with an unusually kind face. Together, their efforts save millions of lives every single year. Let's start the clock. The year is 1958. Australian Dr. Peter Safar was inventing the basics of CPR and was in need of something for people training to practice on without hurting others. So he contacted Asmund Lerdahl, a toy maker in Norway, to help come up with a way. After a lot of debate and design, he came up with this, the famous CPR dummy, Recessa Ann. So right away, it was obvious that the face needed to be someone who everyone could feel safe with doing mouth-to-mouth, and it had to be someone people would want to save. So Lerdahl had an interesting solution from an unusual source. So our story begins in the late 1880s. There was an unknown woman whose body was found in the Seine River in Paris. It is believed she committed suicide in the river and drowned. Her body was displayed in a store window in hopes that a relative or a friend could recognize her and identify her, but with no avail. She has come to be known as l'Inconnue de la Seine, or the Unknown Woman of the Seine. Her beauty was not unlike Mona Lisa's. It was expressive and intriguing. Back in the 18th and 19th centuries, and even up to part of the 20th, people practiced a ritual called a death mask. It was a way of preserving the face of a person exactly as it looked at the moment of death. I know, creepy, right? There are many famous death mask replicas you can still buy today for anywhere between $40 to $120. Faces like Cromwell, Napoleon, Beethoven, Washington, Lincoln, Lenin, and other famous people we know by one name. It was a way of mourning and remembering the dead better than photograph. Her death mask became one of the most famous death masks in history. It was shared in dozens of literary references, and stories were written about the mysterious beauty. So, about 80 years later, Dr. Safar and Asmund Lerdahl found no face more appropriate than the sad face of a drowning victim. Today, according to the American Heart Association, CPR saves about 92,000 lives every single year globally. I know that the creators of Recessa Ann and the CPR method would be proud, but I wonder what she would think if she knew that her death would lead to so many millions of lives being saved, and that everyone learned how to do it by kissing a doll with her likeness. That wraps things up for me. You know, due to our subject matter, I feel it necessary to mention to you that you can get some training in CPR and how to administer CPR through the American Heart Association. In fact, there are 2 classes available this Sunday from 8 to 11 and from 11 to 5, only 4 miles away from Corona. Check it out at the American Heart Association's website, because you never know, you could save a life. Thank you for watching. This is Mr. Forbes. Have a great Friday, everybody.